Put on your helmets and buckle your chin straps for the wildest podcast held in the Steel City. Dubs and Chickenhawk will give you a taste of the past in fried jumbo. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Fried Jumbo. I'm Luke Fleming, and I once again will be moderating these two dummies, Chickenhawk and Dubs.
A.K.A. the Whiz Kid.
A.K.A. the Whiz. With his new lid on today.
Yeah, I look like a freaking woolly man, so on the hat goes.
Hey, you look striking, son.
Thank you.
Striking.
All right, so the purpose of this one...
What's the topic of today's
Well, hold on.
conversation?
Before we get into
Glad you
topics,
asked.
well, let's discuss this here real quick. What we've decided to do, folks, is we're going to do a little story time thing, which like Todd and Chris, or Chickenhawk and Dubs, maybe one out of the next 5 episodes or something like
Right.
that. We're going to go back and just not have a guest, but we're going to talk about some of the most embarrassing moments of our lives.
Family members.
Goofy
Goofy times.
unique experiences.
Right.
Why should the guests?
We got a lot of good feedback from us being in jail.
Yeah.
So we figured, hey, let's have some.
We'll throw a couple other ideas out there, but
more stories about these two numbskulls,
and this time around we're going to talk about family a little bit.
Yeah.
specifically grandparents.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
the grandparents episode. Ba-doom, ba-doom.
Ba-dum. So where do we want to start with that?
Well, I figured that we'd start maybe by talking about your grandparents on your mother's sides.
Oh, there you go. On the mother's side.
I remember Dad specifically talking about Grandpa Tony. He was from Italy, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, if I'll start, my grandpa Tony. I think he was born in 1917.
Naples,
And-
wasn't it?
Yep, Naples. And he came here when he was maybe 9 or 8.
Wow,
somewhere
he
in
left
there.
Naples. Now it's the place to be, huh?
Yeah. They came here, him and he had 4 brothers and sisters, and they settled in Swissville, which was
Yeah.
like the Bloomfield of its day,
Right.
for first generation
Italians.
Italians.
Yeah.
But he met my grandma, who was 100% pretty much Irish.
Yeah.
So, that was interesting when you went to a wedding,
Right.
because the Irish and the Italians, they didn't really see eye to eye real well. So there was a lot of uncomfortable situations. Let's just say.
Same thing here. It's crazy, right? But Pittsburgh was like that, right? Because those were the poor people, poor countries coming over. So that's who was rocking and rolling in this country quickly.
Yeah. So his name was Tony DiMarzo, which is pretty Italian. Capital D-E, and then capital D, small e, capital M. One of those.
Yeah.
Big, and then my grandmother's last name was Stewart, which is an Irish, Scottish
it's Irish,
name.
pretty
Yeah.
Celtic.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, they met when they were young and got married, and they had a couple kids, and that was my mom. Mary Lou was my mom, and then her brother Jack had a couple kids as well, and I have cousins from them. But my grandfather was a unique character. I don't know how far we'll get into this, but he was something. That's all I can tell you.
He was a rough one.
Well, he was lovely, but he was impatient with kids.
Yeah. With children, yeah.
Yeah. So, just to picture him, I could picture him. He's like 5'5". Okay, which is weird because I'm 6'3" or whatever.
Right.
So it was weird, but he was 5'5", and he always wore those bus driver sunglasses. You know,
Did
like
he really?
the aviators.
Oh, yeah.
And it had like these, not rubber, but they had like metal.
Yeah, gold. They were wearing
Like
around
gold
their ears.
things
yeah.
around their ears.
Yeah.
And he had great big ears, and he would be like, when we'd be driving, he always had station wagons and stuff. His head would barely be above the seat.
It's like my grandfather's the same way.
Yeah, your grandfather was Ted.
Yeah.
Calling ear, right?
Yeah, and he was the same way, Italian.
Yeah.
Right? But his grandfather came over here in the late 1800s and befriended Carnegie.
Oh, okay,
Carnegie,
wow,
right?
that's
So
crazy.
then he got into mining and had his own coal mines that did really well. And then I think my great grandfather was either born here or born in Italy. I'm not sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were all Italian, strict Italian. And my grandmother on my mother's side, Anselma Trebitz, right, was from Export, PA, named because it was the first place to export coal.
Okay.
The United States. That's
I never
why.
knew that.
Yeah, a ton of people. Yeah. So again, if people don't know it, a lot of miners were Italian, right? Slovenian, and so she was Slovenian, and my grandfather was Italian. But Slovenia is not too far from Italy, right? So they had all the same probably type of music, and food tastes and similarities like that. So, but he was again about a 5'3" Italian.
Yeah.
So your grandfather was he was a
was a
rock star,
giant.
man. He was a giant,
5'5",
like the Andre of Italians.
Yeah. But hardworking people, and just you use the word love. I can't say enough about my grandfather and my grandmother on my mother's side, especially my grandmother. Her name was Anselma, which is a cool name. I wanted to name my kid that, but my wife was like, "You're nuts," but I thought it was cool. She was just a
I remember
sweetheart of a human,
making egg drop soup and
egg drop soup and all the polkas and all that stuff we would go to with them was awesome. So
I love those weddings when we were little with the polka guy doing the accordion and all that.
It was awesome.
Yeah. But my grandpap, I still picture him too. He wore those green Dickie pants.
Yeah. Did he work in the mill or where did he work?
He worked on the railroad.
Oh, railroad. Yeah.
So he worked in West Mifflin and Duquesne.
Right.
You know how that railroad fed that homestead mill.
Right.
With coal and everything like that. He worked that line from, the coal mines down to the steel mills.
Right.
And he dressed the same way every day, whether he was working or not working.
Right.
It was green Dickies and a white T-shirt.
Yep, white T-shirt. They call them wife beaters now, but they wore them, I think, that cotton because of the heat and everything else.
The heat. Just blazing hot in a steel mill.
Oh, God, yeah.
All that work was
brutal
rough.
Brutal. But he was one of them guys who could fix anything. He only went to school to 5th grade.
Yeah. 3rd grade from my grandfather.
Yeah, and but he could do everything. He built his own home, the one in White Oak that they grew up in.
Same thing, yeah.
He built a cottage up at Pymatuming. They used to have a place to go up there and go fishing and stuff.
Yeah, like that was the place, all the carp.
Yeah, where all the carp are.
Yeah.
Linesville.
Yeah.
It wasn't, their cottage wasn't far from there.
Really?
He built that by hand himself and his home.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But, it was just a different, obviously, generation, very strong generation because they had to overcome a lot. They didn't have, literally anything.
Right.
And they came here. He came here when he was a child, right in the middle of the, right before the Depression.
Yeah.
Depression hit in 29, so he might have got over here in 26.
Oh, boy.
So that was a different time.
Yeah.
But I can remember him telling me a story about his father. He owned a shoe repair shop.
Right.
His dad.
Typical Italian with shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We shouldn't use stereotypes, but let's just put it this way. The Italians were good at everything.
Yeah. Using their hands, man.
Yeah, they were great artisans with brickwork,
stone, everything,
stonework, and
shoes, leather,
everything. And
Da Vinci sure as hell wasn't a Frenchman.
No.
So
they're just, very resourceful folks. And he had a shoe repair place, and there were some gangster type people.
Sure,
people that
which was very prevalent around here.
Yeah, some bad men that basically sort of took advantage of their countrymen at times. Yeah. And they said that they would offer them protection for their business from other people
would destroy it or something.
Yeah,
an old country.
But I just call it bad.
Yeah,
organized crime.
Organized crime.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they wanted money to, keep the shoe shine place from being
safe.
Racketeering. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Protection racket.
And he wouldn't pay. And my grandpa came in and his father was standing there with his hands nailed to the counter.
No shit. Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I remember you telling me this too. 5th grade, I had to do a project on where we came from, and Dad helped me with that. And gave me that particularly gruesome story.
Yeah. And they went underneath and turned them over. You know what I mean? Like the nails went through and then they went underneath them.
Oh, shit.
Brutal.
Yeah, so it took a while to get them out of that situation.
God.
But people don't understand. Younger folks or even our generation, like my generation, I never understood that kind of seriousness of violence, But there was a lot of things going on like that, and he carried, I think, a lot of that with him. And I just have funny story after funny story with my grandfather because he was tough.
Yeah.
On us, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, his son, my mom, and my brother, sister, and I, my cousins, Anthony, Leanne. It seemed like we could never please him.
Right.
Because I think he's seen some things that were very adult-like at a very young age.
Yeah. He had no softness to him at all.
He did. He had quite a bit of it, but it was in rare moments.
Right.
You know, where he would tear up and tell you what he was thinking. But a lot of the daily stuff, you know, the interactions were not like that. They were, he would fly off the handle or, you know, just crazy, funny stuff. But, you know, pretty much my name for him, he called me Hammerhead.
Which makes sense to me.
I mean, he wasn't too far off on that.
No, it wasn't.
You know,
but that's what he called you instead of your real name.
But I mean, it was just, I'll tell you a story, an example of sort of expectations for him. You know, my sister and I went on vacation. Nancy, we went on vacation with him one time, and him and my grandma. They had They had campers.
Right.
Always had a camper or a tent or something. So, and we didn't have that. Our parents didn't have it. So they always were nice enough to take their grandkids.
Yeah.
But they would only usually do two. It would either be me and my cousin Anthony, me and my brother, or me and my sister Nancy, or it'd be Anthony and Lee, his sister.
It was man to man. They couldn't do anything but man to man.
Yeah, they couldn't handle five or whatever.
He probably couldn't.
Right.
Right.
My grandmother was literally the patience of Job. She could handle anything.
Same with my grandmother. Right.
I mean, literally, nothing bothered her.
Right.
It was really laid back.
Same thing.
So we're going in the gas crisis. This is when there were the lines and everything like this. And I call this vacation the vacation from absolute hell.
Look at you. He's got a nervous reaction just on the twisty. It's bothering him talking about it.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You wait, you hear this. But I mean, this kind of sums up some of this stuff. But so starts off, we're going on a July 4th camping trip to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Which I'm thrilled. You know, we're staying at Ocean Lakes Campground, which is, you know.
That's big time back then. To go even see the ocean.
Oh, yeah. I had never seen it before.
Right.
This is my first go around. I'm probably 12 or 13 or something like that. And I just remember we weren't prepared for the situation because the gas crisis was going on. And I don't know how far we made it, but maybe let's just say we're in Maryland or something, right? And we're getting almost on E, right?
Oh.
So my grandpa gets off the exit, and we're just sitting at the exit because everyone getting off the exit is in line for the gas station because there's gas rationing.
And he's going to run out at any moment. And he has no patience. And he's ready to stress out.
Oh, he's stressed to the max. Oh. He always had a toothpick in, right?
Oh, he did?
Always. He's like, man, Jesus Christ, people waiting in line for this damn gas. I don't know, Dolores. We're going to run out of gas. You know,
my God.
And it's going on and on and on. So somehow, by the grace of God.
And again, he took it clear to the wire with the gas. He couldn't have stopped it.
No, just wasn't prepared, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, oh, good Lord. Me and Nancy in the back going, Jesus, God, it's so hot because he wouldn't turn the air on ever.
Oh,
it didn't matter because we were low on gas. He would never turn the air on because he said it ate the gas or something.
Right.
So
that was always a big thing. Turn the air conditioner off so you can save on fuel.
Fuel, yeah. So long story short, we finally make it up to the thing. And he gets out to pump the gas, and he's in a hurry or whatever. And I don't know. I'm in the back seat kind of nebbing, not see what he's up to. And he slams the car door, and my finger was in the big, heavy car door thing.
Oh, how is it?
Oh, yeah. Slammed in there.
This is out of like that vacation movie.
Yeah, it's even worse. It gets worse. But anyhow, in my hand is bleeding. You know, like I need stitched.
Oh, my gosh.
It's crunched. And I'm going, I'm bawling. He's like, what the hell are you bitching at back there? I'm like, my finger, it's in the door. He's like, he opens the door. He goes, you god darn hammerhead asshole. What do you got your finger in the door for?
It was your fault. Yeah.
And I'm like, my grandma was like, oh, honey, come on. Putting ice on it and all that. He's like,
and he went to pumping the
yeah,
gas.
horse's ass. That'll teach you something. Keep your goddamn hand out of the door. You just scratch the paint.
Sounded like a real sweetheart.
Oh, I couldn't have planned a worse vacation if I tried. Even if I said, "Hey, guys, I'm gonna get my friends, gonna rent one cabin or one room cabin in Pine Matooning. We're gonna split it 7 ways. Latrines down the trail. Watch out for bears." I couldn't even make that be worse than yours.
No, it keeps going though.
And it was
it keeps going.
It keeps going. You don't understand.
You gotta understand how hot those freaking Winnebago things got too in the dead of summer.
Well, here's where this goes. You're gonna shit. I mean, this is unbelievable story. So I'm all bandaged up now, and we're back on the road.
It gets worse.
And he would only go halfway, and we would stay at a KOA campground somewhere in Virginia or something like that.
Right, wherever he saw on the map, because it's all you had was a map.
Yes,
no GPS.
No.
So somehow we get into that whole thing, and they go, "Oh, you might as well go swimming." And it literally was like the Cousin Eddie movie. And we go swimming in the swimming pool, and it's like green algae. And, it's unbelievable. Toilets are not emptied.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
a dump.
They're all
complete dump.
Complete dump in the middle of hayseed, Virginia, and me and Nancy, they won't turn the air on. They won't, whatever. So I'm thinking, oh, this is horrible. So next day we get back on the road. But somehow, we white out those lines. And so this is now, we're in about 24-hour drive down to Myrtle Beach, which takes 11 hours because we kept having to wait in line for the gas the whole time.
Right.
So, but he did know to get off with a 3/4 tank instead of a half. He learned that. But we get up there and it's like Clark Griswold at Wally World. We see Ocean Lakes. There it is.
Ocean Lake, you can see the sign.
Big sign.
Yeah, they used to have a big sign.
Giant sign that said Ocean. I mean, each letter, Lakes, done like 50 feet high.
Wow.
You could see it coming into Myrtle Beach, or it was in southern Myrtle Beach. And me and Nancy were like, "Oh my God, this is going to be great. We're gonna, this is fantastic." So again, you're waiting in line to get into this place.
Right.
You got the hauling the camper and being patient and sweating your ass off, patient as hell. And we go up to the counter, the thing to pull up.
Yeah.
And they go, reservation number?
Uh-oh.
Oh, here's nothing.
He goes, what? Pardon me? Reservation, sir. What's your reservation number? He goes, I didn't get a reservation.
No, don't tell me.
Yeah, he goes, well, they go, hey, guess it's 4th of July weekend, guy, or week of 4th of July.
You have to have a reservation,
You have to have a reservation.
Oh, no.
He goes, well, I don't have a reservation.
Did they kick you out?
Oh, yeah. They make us turn around. And but then
that's
he goes,
another walk of shame.
Yeah, so then he goes, my grandfather says, well, how long will it take to get us in? And they're like, well, I don't know. It could be a day. It could be 3 days. It could be 4 days, whatever. So here he said, you're welcome to pull alongside the highway there and just park there and then check with us every day until there could be
So you saw, you could look at the sign, but it's like you can look at the meal, but you couldn't eat.
Dude. We didn't get in for 4 freaking days. We camped on the side of the road. No electricity.
Oh, my gosh.
No bathroom. We go to you have to walk across the street to go to there was an all-you-can-eat buffet. We'd go in there. We couldn't eat there because it was too much money. But we could go in there and ask
Use
for
the
the bathroom.
Oh, my gosh.
Vanished from the promised land.
Yeah, we're cooking on a hibachi grill on the side of the highway for, them little girls like this.
Yeah.
Thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the side of the highway.
Yeah, we'd have to walk down to the grocery store, get fresh hamburger every day because you didn't have a refrigerator or anything.
Hamburger.
4 days.
Surprised you weren't grilling like pickled pig's feet.
So you, no doubt, huh? So you got in finally, though.
Oh, yeah. We got in and, I would have to say made the best 2 days of it that we could.
Right.
Because we had to check out in 2 days because we had to leave.
Yeah.
Because you're taking off from work to go there.
For a week.
So we burnt an extra day driving down because of the gas crisis. Then we stayed on the road for 4 days. And no shit, we stay there for 2 days. We get on the road like 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
No shit.
Early bird.
Early bird. We're coming out of this back road from the campground. Some car pulls out.
No, sir.
I swear to God on a Bible. Some car is parked on the side of the road. And my grandfather's hammering her down in the station wagon. It decides it's going to do a U-turn right there. Does a U-turn and stops right in front of us. We T-boned the car and smashed the hell out of it. And then guess what happened? The camper snapped off.
Oh, Jeez.
You know that thing you hold on?
Oh, good gravy.
It snaps off and goes down into the woods.
Son of a grizzly bear.
Snapped off the car.
It went down into the woods.
Yeah,
It
like
lost his camper.
Well, it was not lost, technically. It's right there. But it's, I mean, you could see it. But
I bet he was in a good mood.
Oh, dude. You want to talk about a rough run. But he was such a mechanic and everything, gearhead.
And he was thinking he could put it back on.
He did. He got it. He got all this steel and shit. And, you know, we were down there another day camping on the road till he got it all fixed. And he pounded out the wheel well so that we could, you know, change the tire, fix the tie rod.
Oh, my gosh.
He ham and egged this thing until we could get home at about a ripping 25 mile an hour.
Dude, that's a whole movie right there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can make a movie out of that.
Yeah. Winnebago in the Formula One at that point.
But ask Nancy about it. And the funniest thing is, we were in the very back of the station wagon when this accident happened.
Oh, yeah. You were like looking the back at the trailer.
Yeah, you know, like we're back there.
Yeah.
But you know how they could lay that down flat so you
Yeah.
could lay it? We were laying there trying to sleep. We had pillows and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Like
You were trying to get comfy.
Well, when he hits this car, we shot like human torpedoes from the back all the way up to the windshield.
The front. No
the front.
shit.
Yeah. So we're in the front. With
Dashboard.
we're in the dashboard with our grandparents. And all they're saying is, who's got Tigger? Who's got There was a little dog they had. They had this little Shih Tzu.
Jesus Christ.
And my grandma was like, where's Tigger? Is it Tigger okay? And me and Nancy are
Like squashed like sardines up
Squashed
against
like
the
our feet
up
are like-
against the window.
our feet are like upside down. Our heads are like my head's where the gas pedal is. You know, my feet are up in the air.
Oh,
and
my
they're worried
gosh.
about where little Tigger is.
Oh my gosh.
It was out of control, man.
Again, I don't think any vacation could be as bad as the legendary Winnebago excursion. Not even if we got COVID in California, had to drive all the way back to Pittsburgh in 3 days.
Did you ever hear that one?
But that's a story for another time.
You guys having
That's
that.
shit luck for Flemings. Yeah.
That's a tale for another day. But Todd,
Well, I'll tell you, with
I'd like to hear a story about you and your grandparents.
my grandfather, Ted Colonier, their name from Italy was Colonieri with an I on it. It's somewhere along the line that came off, right? Either my great grandfather or what, but
Yeah.
similar. My grandma Anselma Trebitz, right, who was Slovenian. He built his house too. And the funny part is he built his house because he hit a ticket in the mill. Because back in the day, that's where there was no lottery and stuff. You played the mill, and there was bookies in the mill. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Bookies in the mill.
They paid better
He
than
hit
the
a ticket.
lottery.
I believe it was like $200, so it paid for his block, his cinder block, for him to put the cinder block foundation in. You know,
And that's how he started it.
and that's how he started. Then they lived in there a year or two with the, you know, like back in the day, people would just build a basement, put plywood or whatever on
the
top,
side. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
some tar paper, and they would live in it for a couple of years so they got enough money to add on to the building. And then he did that, but he hit a number to do that. And the funny thing is, my great grandfather was pretty wealthy with the mills, with the coal mines that he owned. And they had a big farm there and everything. But what happened was he died right before the Depression. And my grandmother, who was from Italy, no idea how to pay taxes or anything, pay the bank, nothing. She didn't know shit. They took everything from them,
Oh, my.
right? And they got a postage stamp of property because their cousin ended up buying the farm and gave all the boys in the family a postage stamp of land to put a house on, right?
Oh,
Which
wow.
was nice.
So all them down there
the
in
Coloniers in Larmer, right?
Larmer, yeah.
All live in little postage stamp because they were
what was the name of that street they lived on?
Pine Street.
Pine Street, yeah.
Yeah. So he built his house because he hit a ticket, right, for $200. Gave him the money to start building his house, which is crazy, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's nuts.
And then he didn't get drafted in World War II. This is a generation, right, that everybody talks about. And what happened was we went to Church of Immaculate Conception in Irwin, and the story there is, you know, Irwin wouldn't give the Catholics a church
Right.
at the time, so they had
It
to
was a
go to
dump.
the state and sue the state, right, and or sue the town to say we need a place to worship because they didn't want the Italians, I guess, coming out. Who knows? I don't know what it was, right, at those dams, right, and they won and were able to build IC Church in Irwin. But he went to church and said, if I don't get drafted, I promise to give my life to service to the community for the rest of my
Right.
life for nothing. And he made that promise in church. He had to drop out of school in third grade because that's when his family went broke, right? Mm-hmm. So he made that promise, and so he was a volunteer fireman, chief of like a bunch of fire companies, started all the fire companies. In the ambulance in town, he the town itself had an ambulance, but the township didn't. So what he did was he went and mortgaged his house, got a mortgage on his house to pay for the first ambulance that he put in his garage.
Oh, wow.
That's how that generation cared about community and people at another level.
What a way to live.
Yeah, just another. Yeah, that's right. And he died like that he never really, he had opportunities to take jobs as a fire marshal or whatever. Nope, because he made a promise. He probably would have been much financially secure.
That's all right.
But he worked in the railroad too when he first started. Mm-hmm. But he always told a story. He got out of there, he got in a fight because they used to. I guess they were Italians, got the dirty jobs, right?
Yeah.
So he got in an argument and said, "That's it. I'm never working on the railroad again." And he got a job at Westinghouse in the mill, right? And he retired from Westinghouse, which was a nice retirement back in the day. And when he passed, my mother had a pension and the Social Security, so she was doing okay. I mean, he left her, I think, with who knows, not a lot of money in the bank because the system took care of you then. It was a little bit different. And so he dedicated his whole life to that. But, they had 4 kids, and I can remember going down there for the holidays. It was awesome because my grandmother could cook up a storm. And so it was nice. It was a typical mill family in Pittsburgh, but everybody, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was good stuff. But he was a great man who did a lot for the community. That's what he lived for. And that's what he died. He died for it, and to this day. But even the ambulance he started, which people don't know about, and he told me a story. He went down to one of the fire halls to recruit people to work on the ambulance, right? And so he did this big speech, a bunch of people, and nobody volunteered. And then finally, one guy, I can't remember his name. Somebody might view this, who was the head of the ambulance there for quite a long time, walked up to him and said, "I'll help because an ambulance saved me in World War II." Picked him up in the war and saved his life. So that guy became the first guy to really
work there,
start working and building the ambulance up. But, that generation was head and heels above everybody else. You know what I mean? And probably because they still remember, coming from the old country and coming
through the Depression.
Building something new, right? And building something special. And they knew they had something special here, because of where they came from was so poverty-ridden. And, so, that side of my family, I can't say enough about how welcoming, good people they were, and God-fearing, and family, and, the whole darn yard, the whole darn thing, right? But he was also big. He wasn't big into politics, but because he was in the fire halls and everybody knew him, if you wanted to run for office, his phone would ring like the day before the election. Hey, Ted, they wanted his endorsement.
Yeah, influence.
Endorsement, even a photo op, or if counts, even that widespread.
I'll tell you a story about him, which was crazy. When I was a little kid, I can remember Sam Sanson's, we've talked about in the past, paper bags in the basement, and there would be like a ham in each one, a chicken, whatever, and there was food in each one, okay? Yeah. And what he would do is, and there'd be, I'd say 50, 100 of them on the basement floor, and what he would do is he would go to the grocery stores, and because they knew him, and a lot of the people knew him, so if he liked you were going to get people going to your grocery store. They would all donate hams, they would donate food, right, what they had. He would put it in bags, and then he would go and deliver it to like families that he knew weren't well off. They might have lost their husband or whatever, and he would just leave it on the door, knock on the door, and split.
This true selflessness. Don't even want to be identified.
It just remarkable generation.
That's with I guess what it says in the New Testament. Like you don't do these deeds for recognition. You do them because they're good.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right.
And breaks me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.